Hello everyone, I'm Kimberly from Dirt Floor Fibers and welcome back. Today is Sunday, February 16th and it has been a crazy day thus far. Do you hear the wind? So I had already started filming this video at home, but I was in a rush because I had to go to work and so it's completely incoherent, so we're gonna try again, see how it goes. But got to work and realized that the program we were supposed to be doing, I came in on my day off to do this, was canceled because of the weather. So decided to go check on the sheep. They had some downed limbs on their fence, so I'm glad I did. I'm gonna get them some more hay. We're almost out of their favorite pellet though, so they got like a small ration today and they're not happy with me. But I also wore my new sweater. Oh my gosh, and my new hat. So we're gonna talk about this in a minute, probably when we get back home, and we can talk in a cool, calm, collected area. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, so while we're a little wind blown, we are back at home, so I feel like we can finally chat. And so hopefully I don't use up all the room on my camera because that's super annoying. But like I said, I tried this earlier and basically rambled because I was in a hurry to get to work, which I didn't even need to be anyway. So we're gonna try all this again. But it is, like I just said, Sunday, February 16th. Crazy weather. We had a big thunderstorm blow through. It was super windy. I don't know what's going on. I'm supposed to get a big snowstorm on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. So we've got a few things that we're gonna be doing in this video. First of all, I've got 2 new finished whips. So we're only in mid-February, and so far this year I've knocked out 4 whips. So super excited about that. Glad to be finally getting some things off the needles. Going to be working on some organization sorts of things, which I'll show you a little bit later because I'm not ready to do that quite yet. We're not to the organizing stage yet. But I want to talk about my new whips. I've got a few purchases in the mail that are related to more like the knitting side of things of the business. And, oh, one of the most important ones, we are prepping for our first fiber market of the season, of the year, really. On Friday, there's going to be a, I'll put details down below if I can find them. There's going to be a small kind of locally dyed market down in, I think it's Virginia Beach. There's going to be a like knitting workshop sort of thing, meetup that's going on. But we need to dye up some new yarn to be ready for that. So that'll be in this video as well. But why don't we go ahead and start with the finished projects first. I'm so excited. So first of all, my hat. This is one of the Musselburgh hats. I don't know if it's Burra, I don't know, whatever, by Isolde Teague. And I made it using my Hint of Silk base. I didn't quite use the entire skein. There's a little ball left. It's downstairs. I don't know how much. But I decided to go with more of like a beanie fit with the brim folded up, or ignore the crazy hair because hat hair, or you can have a little bit more slouch if you don't want it doubled up. Both are really cute. I've been wearing it with the doubled up brim just because it's been so cold out. But I love the fact that the hat is, because it's on my Hint of Silk base, which is a silk merino blend, even though it's double layered, it's been really comfortable. Like my head's been warm, but like not too hot. Even today I was wearing it outside and it's like 60 something degrees, but I don't feel like my head was like sweltering, like it was comfortable. So I don't know, I really, really like it. It's nice and soft. It's not like a fuzzy soft. It's like that smooth soft that I like so much because I feel like the fabric's sturdier and it makes me feel like I'm gonna get more wear out of it. So I'm really, really excited about that. Let me show you the full thing. I'm never gonna get it folded again properly, but if you're not familiar with this hat, have you been living under a rock? I don't know. It's okay. Basically, it looks like this, and you start at one end, and you work increases to make the crown, and then you just work it straight until you get to the other side, and then you work decreases to finish up the other crown, and then you just fold it like back. Oh, I've got stuff from outside on there. And then you fold it inside of itself to make a double layer hat. And so if you go on and look at the project pages, there's tons of people who have done this project. And there are so many different ways that you can change up the yarns, the colors, the patterns, the stitches, whatever. to make something that really fits for you. And because it's such an easy hat, you can make it over and over and over again and keep coming up with different things. I did the one where I did my crown, I did 6 inches of knitting, and then I did 6 inches of 1x1 rib, 6 more inches of knitting, and then the crown on the other side. I did increase to 144 stitches. I think I was 8 stitches to an inch. I can check, hang on. I've got a new tool that I bought right here. But let me check and I will tell you. I think it's 8 stitches per inch. That's a lot of thinking for nothing. I think it's 8 stitches per inch. But anyway, and then I increased to 144 stitches. I have no idea what size that equates to in the pattern, because I was looking at it last night and the math didn't math when I was thinking about it. So I'm just going to improvise with my next one, which I'll tell you about in a second. But anyway, that's what I did. I love the hat. The only thing that I don't like, I kind of wish I'd given myself a little bit more brim. I don't know. Then it would have taken away from the other part. But I feel like I needed a little more brim. It feels like it's a little short to me. And I was originally doing it on double pointed needles, which is normally not an issue. But when I got to the 1x1 rib, I started getting ladders where my needles were coming together. It's not as bad everywhere, but like it was super annoying. Like I never get ladders in my work. So I have no idea what was going on with me. So I switched over to circular needle and just knit in the round that way. And it solved my problem, obviously. So because it's double-sided, depending on how I want to wear it, I just fold it in the direction that's going to hide the laddered stitches. So it works out in the end. But love the project, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Definitely making another one, as you'll find out in a minute. The other project I finished was oh my gosh, now my hair is just like crazy and everywhere, is my worsted boxy by Joji Locatelli. I did this using my By the Hearth worsted, which is a merino baby alpaca mix. And again, it's one of those types of bases where it's soft, but it's not like fuzzy soft, it's smooth soft. And so I love how the fabric, I love a really nice sheepy yarn because I like the way the fabric feels sturdy. I feel like this has that same sturdiness, but without the bite of a sheepy yarn. And so I love the way it came out. I was really nervous about doing a sweater. Last time I did a sweater was in like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. And it was Lion Brand, fisherman's wool, really simple 3/4 length sleeve sweater. And I loved it. It looked so cute. It was a little bit small around the midriff, but whatever. I wore it anyway because I was so proud of it. And then it got eaten by something in my closet one summer. So that was really unfortunate. But I'd always hesitated to make myself another full sweater. I started a cardigan years ago and it's still sitting on the needles somewhere as a UFO. But I always kind of got my own headspace because I was afraid that I'm not really a sweater person because I don't like things that are like super form-fitting. I don't feel like they look good on me. And so all the patterns that I loved, I was like, what happens if I make it and it doesn't fit? Or what if I make it and it fits, but I don't like the way it looks on me, like it looks stupid on me? What if, I make it and then I wear it and it gets ruined, or I wear it so often that I wear it out? None of these are actual concerns, people. I don't know why I was so worried, but I'm so glad that people started designing sweaters that are more of like a boxy style, because that is totally up my alley and I love this. So I'm going to stand up so you can get a better look of what we got going on. All right, so I know it's not a great view, but you can get a little bit of a better look. I did the size 4, obviously not a US size 4, but the size 4 of the pattern, which I think is a size large. It's really interesting because the size extra small is supposed to have a 64-inch circumference. The small, medium, and large all have a 68-inch circumference. And then I think the next 3 sizes go up to a 72-inch circumference. So it's the actual dimensions of the sweaters are very similar. The biggest difference is as you go up each size, the length gets a little bit longer, which I love because I hate it when you go to the store and you pick up the larger size and it's wider, but it's still the same length. It's like I need a little extra length. Thank you. So that worked. And then I do think I accidentally added another like 1/4 inch, 3/4 of an inch, something when I was knitting this direction, just because I got overexcited and overshot my mark a little bit and didn't want to take it back out. But I love the length that it turned out. It hits exactly where I like my tops to hit. So that was absolutely fantastic. The other big difference other than the length is also the armhole. I think, oh, look, I got an end hanging out. It is, the ends are woven in. I just didn't clip them just in case I didn't like the fit and I needed to change something. But I've been wearing it all day and I love it. I love it. Yeah, so the arm circumference is the other big difference. And I think I did one size larger than what I thought I was actually going to need. And I'm glad I did because it's just the right size. It's not too loose, but it's also not tight at all. So I really love that. I kind of wish I had gone a little bit longer than 6 inches in the sleeve, just because now I have the tendency to have it like pulled up above my elbow instead of like being a little bit longer down on my forearm. But it's not a deal breaker. I don't think I would go back and add extra length just for that, because I think I'm going to end up probably pushing it up anyway. But I love the way it looks. It has a little bit of detail in the back along the top edge. Same thing along the sleeves. I think I showed you guys before how it comes together a little bit funky on the sleeve. And I don't know if that's something that I did or if it's the pattern or user error. I don't know. But I still like it. You wouldn't notice unless you're like really staring at it and you're me. The other thing I messed up on is right here. I have no idea what I did. So when you pick up for the neckline, you start on the shoulder, go around the front, up around the back, and you meet back. My pickups are smooth all the way around, except for this section in the front, which I don't know if you can tell. There's like an extra bit of texture. They're like almost like pearl bumps almost. I don't know why. It's not like that anywhere else other than right here. So I don't know if I picked it up differently, which I don't think I did because I did the same thing all the way around, did it all at the same time. My only guess is I did something wonky when I bound off the stitches as I was knitting, and that's what created the little extra bump, because I was going to tear it back and try again, but I couldn't figure out how to get rid of the bump. I don't know if I should have picked up my stitch in the, I don't know. I guess I could have gone down one more stitch and it might have gotten rid of that. Like instead of doing the bind off stitch, do one row below, but then it would have, I don't know, could have looked funky on the inside. I don't know. I'm going to leave it because it looks more like a design element. It matches around this way. So I think if you didn't know that it's not supposed to be there, you wouldn't be able to tell. And so it's not going to bother me. I'm not going to see it when I'm wearing it. I don't care. The other thing that I did, mine doesn't have quite as much of a boat neck as Hohi does when she's wearing hers. And I don't know if it's just because she has more ease in hers, so it kind of like goes off the edge, or if it's because I picked up the neckline with my heart, not with math. And so I ended up decreasing 3 stitches at each like shoulder seam in order to get the correct number of stitches-ish. And I just went around, I didn't really care. And so I think that is what like popped it up a little bit more and gave it a little bit more structure, which I'm actually not mad about, because I think for wearing this as like a comfy top in the office, having a collar or a neckline that's a little bit more structured and not as like wide and kind of drapey, I think looks a little bit better. I love the way it looks like on her too. So like no heat there, but I like the way it came out as well. So anyway, have my new sweater. I love it. Now I can't wait to make another sweater. I'm really glad it came out because it's motivation to keep going with all the yarn that's in my container of good stuff that's sitting next to me right here. Other thing, I am loving the way that I've been blocking things. For whatever reason in my house, it takes absolutely forever for anything to dry. Doesn't matter the time of year, just takes absolutely forever. But what I've been doing with all 4 finished projects that I've had this year, I've done the usual soak. And then after I squeeze them out, instead of like rolling in the towel and you like step on it and all of that good stuff, I've tossed it in my spin dryer that I usually use when I dye my yarn, and just popped it in there until it was dry-ish. And then I've been putting them out. I have one of those like crafting pillow things that like you put your arms on top of, and it's like sitting over the top of a chair down in my bedroom, and it's right next to where my space heater is. So I've been like spin drying it and then kind of like pulling it out into shape and then draping it over this pillow next to the space heater. And it's been drying like overnight, like not even an issue. So I've been liking that method. It's been a lot faster and I don't have to worry about something sitting out wet for days in my house. So loving that. To continue with the knitting projects, we are just going, guys. I am on a roll. My anxiety has been like up here. And fortunately, I've been manifesting or like dealing with that anxiety through knitting and crocheting. And so I have gotten so much stuff done. It's like not even funny. So of course I needed another easy take on the road with me knitting project. And so cast on something else. I went into my container that I put together of all the yarns that I wanted to use this year. And this was a single skein of Black Elephant. So this is that Black Elephant yarn that I got from Dances with Wool. They didn't have all the colors that I wanted when I was going to make a project. And so I just got the one that I really loved that was on sale when I went back because they're almost gone. But anyway, this is their Pure Sock base in Bosom Friend. I did go on and look at their website and I didn't see this colorway, so it might not be one that they're making anymore. But with their Pure Sock base, it's 100% superwash merino with 100 grams to 400 meters. And so what I'm doing is another of the muscle burr hats. And let me see if I get this up. I've started at the crown. I used what I think is technically a crochet pinhole cast on. I think that's what it's called. Except I don't use a crochet hook. I just use my knitting needles and I like create a magic loop and then use my knitting needle as like almost a crochet hook to get loops up on one needle, and then I spread it over the 4 needles and go out from there. I think I'm pretty close to the same gauge as this hat. Again, I'll check it once I get a little bit more on the needle so it lays flat. And so I think I'll just make it the same way. Only difference is instead of doing the rib in the middle, I'm going to make it just all knitting. And then that way I don't have to worry about running out of yarn because there's less on this than there was of this yarn. I didn't use all of this, but I don't want to run out before I've gotten to the end of the crown, I guess, when you're decreasing. So what I'm going to do is once I finish the crown, I'm going to weigh how much is left. And then that's how I'll know how much I should leave for the other crown. And then I'll probably tack on a couple of extra grams just to be on the safe side because I do not want to run out. I do not want to have to play chicken and like tear back the crown of the hat. It's a beautiful, it's hard to see in this lighting, but it's like a really mauve-y, dusky, pinky purple. We've got a theme going on, right? And then it's got these cute little flecks of like, mauve and orange don't sound good together, but in this skein, it's really cute. There's like these pumpkin-y orange colors with like little flecks of, I don't know if that's black or some other sort of like dark color. I think it's black. And anyway, it's just super cute. And I'm looking forward to knitting this up. I'm loving the yarn so far. Little tricky the first couple of rows getting started, working so small on the double pointeds. But after that, I haven't had any sorts of issues. So loving the way that is coming out so far. So that is my new cast on. But I've also been working on my other February project, which is my Merfolk Fade shawl. And I can't remember where I left off showing you because I didn't put in an extra stitch marker. But this is what I have done on it so far. I can't remember if I told you in the last video that I do kind of regret doing the blue next instead of the purple. I think the purple would have looked better, but it was so fuzzy I could not go back and pick it out and do it again. So we just kind of went with it. But I love how fuzzy it is, and I think once it's done, I'm not going to care that I should have done it the other way. I am loving the lace section, which I finally figured out that it's not... When I was reading the pattern, I thought it was like a mesh sort of lace eyelet sort of pattern, but it's actually like a faux cable. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, there you go. It's like a faux cable almost, and it's really cute. So really, really enjoying that. You can actually see it better when I was alternating colors. And so we're actually almost at the end of this like stripy section. I think I'm actually starting the decrease rows next, which it seems like a really small project if I'm already getting to the decreases, but I think the other side is like has a longer taper to it, I think. I'm not sure. We're just going to trust the process and go for it, but this yarn is so fuzzy and I love it. It's so great. So that's how far we've got on that. So we have made tons and tons of progress. I've also like crocheted and done some market prep, but we'll do that in another video. This is a little bit more like fancy yarn focused today. But I also have some purchases that I want to show you. And again, I have more like crochet-y purchases, but I'll show you that when I do the market prep. So the first thing, I ordered some stuff from Twice Sheared Sheep, which if you're in Virginia, Center of the Yarniverse in Richmond apparently has a lot of Twice Sheared Sheep stuff. So I actually went in there the other day and they had like a whole display, and I was like, I could have just come here and picked it up rather than ordering, but it's fine. Got a cute little thank you card, a little thank you note, which was lovely. I got a dum-dum. I don't know what they're trying to tell me, but that's okay. Have that later for dessert. Whoop, I'm throwing stuff on the floor. Hang on. Also got one of their business cards. They popped in there. And then my items that I got. Number one, I got one of their row counters, which the one I picked out, I'm super excited. It has a little calico cat that's like hanging from the scruff of its neck, and I think that's just like the cutest thing ever. They have two different versions of this, one that hangs straight and one that's in a circle. I was worried that the one that hangs straight would be like too long and dangly and it would bug me, so I got the circle loop one. We'll see how that works. It goes obviously like 0 through 9, but then it has one of these like little, I don't know if you can see it, it's like a little stitch marker progress keeper on it. And so once you hit like row 9, you can pop the little marker on the 1. And so as you go around again, you know you're on 10, 11, 12, blah, blah, blah. When you get to the 20s, you pop it onto the 2. So you know you're at 20, 21, 22. And so you can keep going around. So I think that's really neat. I got the size large, I think. Yeah, size large, which fits up to a US size 10.5. So I figured that would fit most of my projects that I would need this for. So I'll try it out and I'll let you know if I actually like it. But I think it's cool. It's a good idea. We'll see what happens. And then I also got some of their snag-free stitch markers, which these are fun because you can use them both on your needles as like a stitch marker, but you can also, because the loop at the bottom is open a little bit, you can use it as a progress keeper, either for your knitting projects or you can use it for crochet. So I'm excited to try this different style and see what that is like. And then the last thing I ordered from them was their quick gauge, this is what I was trying to use on my hat earlier to figure out what gauge it was, but I haven't taken the film off yet, and so it was hard to read. So we'll give it a proper try later once I've gotten the film off, and we'll see if we like it or not. But basically you just lay it like over your knits and it lines up the stitches and you can tell what your gauge is. So, and it has a little ruler in case you want to double check or whatever, but that's what that's like. So I got that. Then the other thing I did a lot of shopping, but that's okay. The fiber, what is it? The Dogwood Fiber Trail is coming up in Virginia on April 4th through the 12th. Again, I'll pop the link down below. And they have put out a thing to buy some merch, which they did it through Bonfire, which basically, I think, my understanding is you like create products, hats, tote bags, t-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever, and then people buy them until a certain date, and then it closes, and then I think they do all the printing at once and drop ship everything. So I think that was kind of a cool idea if you're doing some sort of fundraiser, or if you want to do like a short-term merch drop for your business or whatever. I like the quality. I've already opened the packages because, like I said, I did this morning and then it was a hot mess. So I've already seen them, so I'm a little less excited now, but that's okay. I did get a t-shirt, and it's a long sleeve, and it's that really nice, like, stiff, heavy cotton material, which, as we've discussed, I like a good sturdy fabric. I'm a spiller, I'm a tearer, I'm really hard on clothes. So I love the fact that it's nice and sturdy, and it's not like that really soft, like clingy, gonna be ruined after 2 washes sort of thing. And how they've done the printing on the front looks like it's gonna stay for a while too. It's not gonna peel off. So really excited about that. Just got that in black. I've been trying to replace a lot of like my old t-shirts and sweatshirts, like let go of the ones that have seen better days and replace them with things that I love now. And so this is part of that process. So I got the one long sleeve shirt, and then I also got a tote bag. This was the large size, because I figured that would be great for all of the projects that I've been starting and carrying around. And it'll also fit my computer in it, so I can actually wash the tote bag that I got from the Leicester Longwool Association 2 years ago. It's not quite 2 years old, but it's like a year and a half. Anyway, it's been a while. It's old. It needs to be washed. And then this will let me have a backup while that is in the washing machine and while it's drying. And then I also got myself a hoodie. I don't have any hoodies in this pretty blue color, so I thought this would be a good investment. Again, has the logo on it. I think I got a size extra large. So it's going to be nice and comfy. Has a little kangaroo pocket. Yeah, so I have some merch. I think that's everything that has to do with knitting. Like I said, I've got a bunch of crochet stuff, but we'll save that for another time. So I honestly don't know what I want to work on now. After I kind of gave up on work since our event got canceled, I came back home. I'm home earlier than I thought I was going to be. Maybe we'll organize and dye some yarn. Well, today's trip to feed the sheep is shaping up to be fun. So you can see my car by the road, right? The sheep are back there. But yesterday, when I don't care if I told you or not, that the dirt road that I used to get back to the sheep, it's got some really soggy sections. And there's one particular spot that was real dicey yesterday, and I wasn't entirely sure if I was even going to make it out of the field. So I parked and I'm walking. I probably should have pulled up further, but I didn't want to like have to turn around on their nice grass. I didn't want to get in trouble. So we gotta walk fast, get them fed. Oh my gosh, here we go. Oh, so let's see, we're back in the woods. Another branch that came down. That's a big one. Ugh. Fortunately, it's not too heavy, and I just moved it with my foot. But anyway, I always worry about coming back here when it's windy because we got some widowmakers back here. But anyway, without the car, the sheep don't know I'm here. So let's see if we can surprise them. They heard me. I wasn't quiet enough. Hello, my lovelies. Are you hungry? Is it snack time? I don't think I said it when I was feeding the sheep, but this was from Monday, which was President's Day, and we were getting ready to have our big program for President's Day at work. As you can see, the weather is windy, it is cold, but it is super sunshiny and gorgeous out. And I got into my location a little bit early. I was waiting for our 3 presidents. I forgot who they were for a second. Washington, Jefferson, and Madison. Because I needed to make sure that they got all mic'd up and that their carriage was on time. They were able to get into their carriage and then to give them their cue to get where they were going. So I figured while I was early, I would sit and do a little bit of knitting. I'm using my fantastic bag from Pine and Pearls and working on my Musselburgh hat and enjoying my coffee and watching all the people go by. Perfect day for knitting outside. The horse was being a little bit sassy, so of course leave it to George Washington to go and steady the carriage so that Jefferson and Madison could get off safely.
Strike! Ready! Give! Fire! On fire!
All right, so it's now Tuesday, maybe a little after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I wanted to give you an update because it has been so busy. Tomorrow is going to be even busier. So I think I last checked in with you on Sunday. Yesterday night, really, I pulled out all of my yarn from last year's inventory and spread it out on the kitchen table just to see what colors I had, what I needed to stock up on for the market on Friday. And I realized I have like nothing. There's nothing there. I mean, there is, but there's not. And the market is just a 6-foot table. So I feel like I can fill it up nicely with what I have, but I really need some more. So I also got together all of my undyed yarn that I have in inventory, which one of my goals is to keep like stocking up on that so that you can only sell what you bring. And so I really want to have a larger stock of the undyed yarn so that way I can produce more to bring more to markets and be able to put some online and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled all that out and I don't have much of that either. So I was feeling like I was in a little bit of a pickle. So I went on last night and I ordered more yarn from 3 of my suppliers. And yeah, I don't think it's going to get here in time to actually help me for this Friday, which is fine. I have plenty to keep me busy. There's no way I could dye up even everything that I already had in stock here. But my first package with my most needed yarn, maybe. Well, I think my most needed yarn is actually out of stock. Anyway, that's not the point. So a very important package is coming on Wednesday tomorrow. But we're going to get to Wednesday in a minute because that's going to be a hot mess as well. So anyway, I went on, ordered a bunch of stuff, and so hopefully that's on the way. So even though I won't have it for this February market, I should have a bunch back in stock for when we hit Second Sundays coming up in March, which is coming up super, super fast. It is going to be here before we know it. So I made a plan. I know exactly what I'm going to be dyeing. I know what I'm going to start with. I know what bases I'm going to bring in. So we'll talk more about that when I actually get down to business of dyeing, which will be tomorrow. Yesterday obviously was a holiday, right? Went into work, as you guys knew. I'm pretty sure I told you. I think I told you. But I went to work yesterday and I decided I was going to take Wednesday off because there's a snowstorm that's predicted. And I don't feel like sliding my way to Williamsburg like I did in the last storm. So I'm like, I'm just going to take the day off. And my boss was like, are you sure you want to like burn a day off? Why don't you just take your holiday, which you worked your holiday today, why don't you just take that off on Wednesday? And I'm like, I think I want to take the paid time off so I can like sit around the house guilt-free and not be like, I should be working right now. No. So my intention was that today was going to be my holiday, except I forgot that we had rehearsal tonight and I have had like 10,000 important emails during the day. So I've been working from home but I've still been working all day, and I have to go into rehearsal tonight. And then I realized tomorrow, even with the storm, we have 2 rehearsals, which I moved to virtual. So I have to work tomorrow night anyway on my day off. And then Thursday is my actual day off. So I don't know. At some point in time, I'm going to have some time off to do something. It's fine. But my hope is tomorrow, I'm going to dye we're going to get up like super early, and we're going to have a dye day. I have already cleaned the kitchen. I have organized the table. I've got all my supplies together. So tomorrow, as soon as I get out of bed, I can hit the ground running and we can start dyeing some yarn. I'm very, very excited about that. And then Thursday, I'm hoping will be like my finish up the last couple of pots of yarn, make sure everything's dry, get everything packaged and packed. And then the market is just a couple of hours on Friday. So really, really excited about that. My knitting, my knitting is going to have to rest after Friday because it's going to be crochet market prep and dyeing for March markets all the time. So even though I feel like I'm making a lot of progress with my knitting right now, I'm really worried that it's going to like screech to a halt after this week, but I just have to be productive on other things. So I'm trying not to like dwell on that, and I don't want to be hard on myself when I'm not making this much progress next week. But to show you what I got done. Okay, so remember, Sunday was the last one I showed you stuff. Today is Tuesday. What's the right side? I don't even know what the right side is. You're looking at it. Okay, so on Sunday, when I showed you where I was here. I'll show you on the point. I was right there. So since Sunday, I have done all of that. And then my next row, I'm joining in my 3rd color. And so the little stripe sequence will start again. Yeah. So I am so close to the end. I've just got one more color to go, and yay! And it's really funny. So I was working on this for a bunch of the morning, but when I got to the point where I needed to switch over to a new color, I didn't want to do that yet because I didn't want to have to wrestle with 2 balls of yarn to show you. So I stopped and thought I'd put a few rows on my hat that I'm working on. And as soon as I picked it up, I'm like, wow, this yarn is scratchy and terrible. Why did I like this yesterday? And then I realized that the yarn's not scratchy and terrible. It's merino. Hello. It's just that by comparison to the ultra fuzzy brush Surrey alpaca in silk, it is like crunchy by comparison. But we're back off our high horse and we are acclimated to the 100% merino once again. But that's how much progress I have made on the hat. So I finished up the crown shaping, which ended where my marker is. And then now I'm just going around in circles. So my intention originally was to weigh the skein before I started working. However, I forgot to do that. And I'm like, I'm not pulling this out to go back and weigh it. So I figured I would just weigh the crown when it was finished, and then that would tell me what I had left. When I weighed this after finishing the crown, it was 100 grams. It was 100 grams. So I have no idea how much the crown took. I did, because you're like, Kim, why didn't you just weigh the crown? I did. Stop being judgy. Except the needles were in there. So the crown plus the needles were 14 grams. I forgot about it for a second, but it was 14 grams. But the needles, I feel like, were just as heavy, if not heavier, than the crown. So what I'm going to do, because I'm smart, I am going to knit until I have 14 grams remaining. And then I'm going to switch from those guys to my double pointed needles. And then I'm going to weigh these needles, and that will tell me if I can knit any more or if I need to start the crown. That's a lot of math, but we're going to make it work. We're going to improvise because this was an overweight skein, which is nice, but I don't know how much my crown weighs now. So we'll figure that out later when we get to the other end. It's not going to be our problem for a while because we are like literally right there. So on the plus side though, when I go to rehearsal, I can knit on this. Yay. Best part of the night. Okay. Anyway. Love this bag. I posted it to Instagram, and I think I've shown you guys this before when I opened it, but this is from Pine and Pearl. They are Canadian, and they have all kinds of really cute project bags. These are like my favorite now. It's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. And then as you can clearly see in the picture, it's not fine. It's got the drawstring on both sides, which I really like. It's great to like hang around my wrist as I'm knitting. Now it's got like a little bit of slag to it, so I probably wouldn't use this as like a walk and go, but I was sitting on a bench yesterday and it was just fine to hang around my wrist. If I wanted to, I'd also hung it from a fence. You could hang it from the back of a chair, edge of a table, and then it just held my yarn while I was knitting straight out of the bag. So really like the bag. I'm feeling it right now. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. All right, so I've babbled long enough, showed you my projects. We got to go to work. Oh, two more things. Number one of the reasons why I have to run now and not later is because I need to take care of the sheep, but it's going to take more time because I've got to get them re-bedded down with new straw, and I'm going to leave them like double the hay. So then that way I don't have to go see them tomorrow. They'll just have to like suck it up in their little, it's not going to snow that much. I say snowstorm like we're getting 3 feet of snow. It's going to be like 3 inches, but it just makes the roads impassable because A, we don't clear the roads around here, and B, Virginians can't drive in the snow. Just saying. So don't think that I'm leaving the sheep under feet of snow on their own devices. It's going to be a sprinkling. It's just going to be unsafe to drive. So I'm going to go give them extra hay, go give them extra bedding, go give them extra water, and that way they'll be set for tomorrow. And then I don't have to risk life and limb getting to go see them, and they can just chill out in their little shelter with their snacks. And I'm also wearing my new sweatshirt. Yeah. Everything else I had was dirty. And I was like, oh, I have a new sweatshirt. And it's so nice. I love it. So anyway, if you haven't already gotten one of these, I think they might still be up for sale. Not 100% sure, but go check them out. Dogwood Fiber Trail. All right. Bye. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot that my new package from Paradise Fibers came in the mail. This is their Fiber of the Month Club. After their big fire, was it last year, they stopped doing their packages for a while. And in the back of my head, I was like, well, when they go to start back up, I'm just going to cancel it because I'm like, I don't even know how many boxes behind now that I haven't spun up. But since it started back up again, I just haven't bothered to cancel. So they've been coming in the mail. However, I have not been getting the emails that tell you ahead of time. They give you like a teaser as to what the theme is for the month. Which again, I don't know if it's because I sent too many of them to like the trash, or maybe I like put it in junk mail by accident. So I don't get them anymore. Which means these boxes are a complete surprise. But the package is pretty, regardless of what it is. So this is the one for February. And let's see what we got in here. All right. So for February, we are celebrating Paradise. So it's a celebration of themselves, which kudos to you guys. So it looks like the company was founded in 1997. And they've just last year had their it was 2023 when they had their fire. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. What even happened to last year? But anyway, so they reopened back 2024 after their 2023 fire. So it looks like in this month's package, we're getting 5 ounces of Paradise Fibers blend, which is 60% extra fine merino, 25% baby alpaca, and 15% tussa silk. And then, favorite book / painting, 5 ounces of Girl with Pearl Earring, which is 54% merino, 40% kid mohair. So it's okay, we'll suck it up. And then 6% stellina. And then we've got our stitch marker, and there's going to be, so we get 2 different kinds. So we have a Eunice, which is their little sheep logo stitch marker, and then it's engraved and handmade, apparently. And then a mystery stitch marker from a previous club, and then a notion bag, 2 flavors of tea, and a sparkly sticker. Well, this is fun. So apparently, the Girl with the Pearl Earring is a throwback from February of 2023, which means I must have a bag of this somewhere because I think I was getting them at that point in time. I don't know. Interesting. And then Paradise Blend is a this breathable blend is new and exclusive to Paradise Fibers. Custom made based on our brand's signature colors with a subtle mix of purples and yellows. And they gave us a nice little, they usually give you like some sort of project or suggestion. And so on this page, it's just telling you a few different ways you can spin it up. So like barber pulling it, heathered yarn, getting beehive coils, whatever. And then there's usually a project. I don't see one, so maybe there's not a project this month. But then they also gave us some information about the different fibers. Yeah. All right, so let's dive in and see what we've got. This looks like our Paradise Fibers blend. Oh my gosh, my bag's not cooperating. I have to sneeze, hang on. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. All right, pretty. That is super pretty. That is gonna make a really fun yarn. It's always tricky when you have this many colors in like this fine of a stripe, because it's really easy to just end up with something that's like heathered. But like, I like it when it's heathered, but when you still have like the pops, especially if like the bright colors shining through. So that is going to be fun to make up into a skein. I'll have to see if I can fit all 5 ounces on one bobbin with my e-spinner. Usually 4 is what I figure, but we'll see what happens. And then girl with the pearl earring. Oh, it's so pretty. So it's like this like bluish gray with the blue sparkles in it. It actually doesn't feel bad for mohair. Okay, I am going to reserve judgment on this until I actually spin it, because in fiber form, it feels delightful. We'll see what my fingers feel like an hour into spinning it, but I'll reserve judgment. Could I apply them? No. Maybe. I'll spin this one first, and then we'll see if this color would complement the heathered yarn. But I don't think so. I think I'm going to have to do them separately. 2 separate skeins of yarn right there. And then we have a Notions bag. It's plain. Nothing fancy. And then inside, there's our, oh my gosh, we're stuck together. Our Eunice stitch marker. And then my one from a past club, which is just this little, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? It looks terrible like that. Ah! It's a cherry. Anyway, you can't see that. It's a cherry. There we go. All right, got that. Put those back in there. Got my sticker, my tea, and that's it. All right, now we're going to work. All right, so it is Wednesday, and it was not snowing when it said it was going to snow, so I was like, I'm going to go get coffee and a taco. And probably shouldn't have gotten the taco because it started raining, or not raining, snowing. But fortunately, it's not too bad here in town. Some of the other roads, I was like white knuckling it, but it's fine here. But look, while I was gone, my package got delivered. It's a little snowy because FedEx is FedEx, but we'll bring her inside and see what we have. All right, so I have no idea why I was shocked when I opened up this box. I knew it wasn't any of the other two, but for whatever reason, I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. That's okay. So this is my base for my By the Hearth worsted, which is a blend of merino and baby alpaca. Where are we? There we go. So it's basically this stuff. Yeah, can you tell my label? When I printed it, I had just like copied and pasted from something else and somehow managed to forget to change the grams. So it's handwritten, so that's just the life we're living right now. But what I have left already dyed up of this is basically what you see here in the corner. I have just a couple skeins of the dried lavender, which is what I was using for my sweater that I made. I've got a couple, I think this is probably frozen. Yep, frozen. And then favorite hat. And that's all I got. So it's actually probably a good thing that I got in another box. It's still cold enough that people probably want some good hat or mitt yarn. So we'll put this on our list. But what I've got soaking, and we're getting ready to dye up first, is actually the Hint of Silk base. I don't have much of this left, either in undyed or dyed form. Right now, all I have is 1 crumble, 3 of the cherry blossom, and 3 mulberries. So this is one of my most popular bases, so I'm definitely going to get more of that dyed up. I've got 8 skeins soaking in water right now, but it takes a little extra time because of the silk content to actually really fully soak up all of the water. So I'm waiting for that to be finished. And then if you want to see, that's what it looks like before it's been dyed. So yeah. All right. Again, I don't know why I was shocked and surprised by this, but we'll add that to our pile of undyed goodness to get dyeing. All right, guys, who's ready to dye? I am. That's me. It's really, really cold inside my house right now. I'm not going to talk about what temperature it is. Wearing a hat. My feet are like numb, but whatever, it's fine. So I'm hoping it doesn't impact the dye session. I don't think it will, but I am really hoping that having all the stoves going will mean that my temperature will go up a little bit. Just like washing the dishes earlier was fogging up one of my windows. So here's hoping. All right, let's check out what we have on the stove so far. All right, so with my current setup, I have a separate burner that's plugged in to my floor, actually, in my kitchen. And then I have another one of these pans over on my stove. That gets me 8 skeins of yarn in one go, 4 in each pan. And then I can also put kind of sort of another pot on the stove, which will get me like usually 2 more skeins is how I do those. But it's a little bit close to my wall. My kitchen setup is really, really stupid. And so I don't like doing that. So usually I go for 8 skeins at a time. So you can start your dyeing with water that is cold, water that is warm, water that is hot. It just depends on what kind of style you're going for and how you want your dye to strike. You can also start with acid or not with acid. So this is cool water, just out of the tap. It has acid in it. I use either white vinegar or food grade citric acid. This I use the citric acid in. And then it also has my base color for this particular skein. This is going to be crumble, and this is the base color. So how I do my dyes, so let me grab a container. All of my dyes come in powdered form, and then I mix them up in a container, right? Each container just has one color inside of it. And then I do my color mixing either in the pan itself, or sometimes if it's going to be a color where I need a lot of it, I'm going to need a lot of it, but I don't need a lot of it right now. Like I don't need the full amount in the pan. I'll mix them up in the jar as well. And then I just label the top of the jar. So again, this is the base color for crumble. And then it's going to be hard to see because my lighting in here is terrible. But this is the base color for Nap Under the Sky. I'm going to give everything a little bit more of a stir just because I see some flecks in here. That might just be the nature of the game because it's so cold in here. Nothing wants to combine. So we'll give it a little stir and then we will get our yarn in the pan. So there we have Nap Under the Sky in the pan. Heat is turned on, so we'll go ahead and cover it up and let it set for about 20 minutes before we do anything else. And there we have crumble. Now for both sets of yarn, I did soak it in water. I think I said that before. And then I just squeezed out as much as I could by hand because you want the yarn to be damp but not sopping wet for maximum color absorption. And as you can see, the way I've put it in, it's not going to be a solid color. It's going to be more of a semi-solid, which is what I want for these particular colors. All right, so we have our first layer of speckles added to Nap Under the Sky. I forgot what it was called for a second there. So this is 5 different colors of speckle on top of the base. Again, we'll let that set for a while and then we'll turn it over to do the other side. And here is what Crumble looks like with its first set of speckles. All right, so now it's dark outside, so you're really not seeing anything, but I had kind of moved these around to make sure everything got an equal chance to cool down in the water. Hope that's not actually white. I would cry. I think it's okay. We'll check it out once we rinse it. I had a couple of rehearsals to go to virtually because of the snow, which meant that this got to cool down a lot longer. The water's like freezing at this point. And it's 9 o'clock, 9 something. So definitely behind schedule, but I'm gonna go ahead and give this a nice wash. Everything should be set. I shouldn't see any color running off of it. You can see pan is completely clear. It happens on occasion that you might have like a speckle that didn't quite stick because it didn't get wet. Definitely had enough heat. It might not have gotten wet enough. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash, and then these are gonna go in my spin dryer, and then we're gonna hang them up, and they're gonna start drying, and we'll get the next set on the stove. All right, so it's now Thursday, and the snow is done, obviously. Went out to get a coffee and realized the roads were looking pretty good, and so I decided to go check on the sheep, but that's the road, so obviously I'm not getting down there, so we're gonna have to walk again, and I brought no coat, so I'm cool. I'm out of shape, guys. I had to abandon my hay, like halfway, not even halfway, because I pulled off a bigger flake than what I meant to, but it was like where the bale naturally wanted to break, so I was like, I'll just grab the whole thing together, and it was too heavy. The fun part though, there are tracks all over the place, and I see rabbit and squirrel and bird, but there's something with a rather large paw that's hanging out around here too, and I don't know what it is. So a little nervous, but it is. My Sperry rain boots are not meant for hiking through the snow. I'm done. I'm out of shape, guys. Hello. Hi. How are you? Hi, beautiful. It is so fluffy, I am going to die. But before we get to the fluff, let's reverse a little bit. So today is Monday. On Friday, I had the Virginia Beach Yarn Retreat vendor market. It reminded me why I don't like doing markets in places like Richmond and Virginia Beach and all of those areas. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, at a market, festival, whatever, plenty of parking. You might be in somebody's field. You might be in some kind of dodgy place and you're like, I'm not sure if I should be here. I'm not sure if I can get out of here once I've gotten in here. But city parking stinks. But anyway, I went to the hotel, and the hotel has it's right on the boardwalk. So like I'm like literally heading into Virginia Beach on I never go down here, on a highway, and I'm like 3 minutes away, and I'm like, I'm still on the highway, and it says it's at the end. And then I like zoomed in on the map, and like literally you drive into Virginia Beach, and before you drive into the ocean, that's where the hotel is. So it was oceanfront, like literally, and huge hotel, teeny tiny parking lot. So I drive in, and I managed, so we had all that snow on Wednesday, right? And it looks, you kind of tell like who had been there for a few days, because they like plowed the parking lot and like plowed the cars into the parking lot. So I have no idea how people were getting in and out, but I managed to find a couple of open spaces. A lot of them had like this big buffer of snow that I couldn't get like my car through to get into this teeny tiny parking space. So I eventually found a space. It was fine. We got in there and we made it work. Yeah, it was super easy. There was an elevator. Somebody actually gave me a luggage rack. And so I got all my stuff in and up the elevator in one go. As I was packing up, it took me 2 goes because I didn't bother with a luggage cart. Because I figured by the time I went downstairs to go get one and then back upstairs to pack my stuff, I might as well just do 2 loads and it would have been the same number of trips. And it was an elevator, so it wasn't that bad. To make it easier, because I wasn't sure what the parking situation was going to be like and what it was going to be like getting in the hotel, I went with a 4-foot table setup. I'll insert something here. It was just the right size. It was a little bit small. I could have done the 6-foot, but the 4-foot worked just fine. I didn't stay up as late as I had wanted to get a couple more colors of yarn done, and I think it wouldn't have been worth it. I probably could have sold some more, but I think sleep was more important at this point. So, you know, the table was what it was. Looked super cute. It's the first time I've had a big display. It's not the first time I've had my own yarn on display. But I had actually 3 pieces to showcase, and I thought that was really great. So I like this kind of goal of mine to get all of my yarns and knit up into samples. So 10 out of 10 for that. The hotel was really cute. You can see the beautiful view out the back to the ocean. They're doing something out there in the sand, which was kind of construction-y, which kind of ruined the vibe a little bit. But if you ignore that and look at the water, it's super pretty. The people at the retreat were fantastic. I think the email said there was like 60-something people who were staying in the area. I don't know if everybody was staying at the hotel or some people were local or whatever, but there were like 50 to 60 people there. And so I made just over $400 in sales for a 2-hour market, which, considering I didn't have like a vendor fee or anything and met lots of local, really nice people, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. If I get to go back, I would love to go back next year. Anyway, so the vendor market was great. Really enjoyed it. That was my first fiber market of the year. We have our next market coming up on the first Sunday in March. Not the first Sunday, second Sunday in March in Williamsburg. I think my application got accepted. Fingers crossed. I have to go back and double check that anyway. But I think that's the first one, or the next one. I can't talk anymore, guys. The brain has gone. But anyway, so I told you before that with my personal knitting, it was going to slow down after Friday because it was going to be market prep all the time. But I was so close to being done with my Merfolk fade shawl that I had to keep going. Like, I couldn't stop. And I was almost at the end, or so I thought. So I spent all of like Saturday and Sunday knitting. And Sunday night was, and I'm exaggerating when I say all day, but there was a good chunk of time that was dedicated to knitting. But Sunday night, I was like determined to get it finished. And I swear the end of the shawl just kept going and going and going. But guys, this is my first new cast on finished object of 2025 and my 5th finished object. I feel like last year was filled with like indecision and like creative block and a general ennui sort of thing. And this year we have been on top of it. We're not perfect, but what can we expect? But it has been fantastic. I even blocked this and let it dry last night. And so it's completely finished except for I have to trim like my ends that I wove in. I have to just trim those off and then it's all done. And so I'm gonna start at the other end. Okay, so this was the cast on end. And so it starts out in one color. And you can see how the little lace section turned out with those little faux cables on it. But it looks super good IRL. And then we went into kind of a fade section. It's getting longer and longer and longer. And then halfway through, or not halfway through, but like the end of the fade section, we start decreasing, but it decreases at a different rate. And so the other side is like much longer. And I didn't realize this. I probably should have, if I had looked at the pictures properly or read the entire pattern ahead of time. But you have your 3 colors, right? So you go color 1, color 2, color 3. But at the end, you pop back to color 1, which I really like that added little pop at the end there. And it's a fantastic size. Let's see if I can wrap myself up, well, in a hoodie. This is probably like the least graceful thing you've ever seen, but that's okay. Look. Oh. It's so fluffy! Like, oh my gosh, I just want to like, I love it. There is not a single thing that I don't love about this. Yeah, I mean, like, just look at it. Now, I will say that after I soaked it, blocked it out, it's not quite as fluffy as it was before. It's still ridiculously soft and fluffy. Don't get me wrong. It's just not quite as soft and fluffy. So I don't know if that's just what the yarn does after it blocks, or if I should pop it in the dryer for like 2 minutes once it's completely dry, or if I should like hit it with a steamer. I don't know. It's still freaking gorgeous. Look, there's like a little halo on it. Oh, I love it. Yarn was great. Pattern was great. It's so fluffy. It's so fluffy. I love it. So anyway, if you can't tell, I love this project and I'm so excited. I got to figure out how to take a picture of it and put it up on Ravelry, which we'll do later. But yes, so excited. Urgh. Yay. Yeah. And that's that. You can see the spine kind of going down the top. That's that project. Merfolk shawl. I was going to show, there's one more thing I was going to show, but I can't remember what it was. That's how much yarn I had left. So, yeah. Still got plenty to do something. Do a hat. Like, that'd be fun. I don't know. I'll figure it out later, but I got plenty of this left. So, put that to the side. That leaves knitting for March. So, like I said, market planning, market prepping is going to be number 1 on the list for March because that's when we go back to our regular monthly markets again. I think I have one fibery ag fest sort of thing in April, but I don't think I signed up for anything else fibery in the spring. I hesitate. I really wanted to do the Fiber Festival at Scotchtown, but the Ag Fest is on the same day as Scotchtown, which I let them know. I was like, BT dubs, for next year, when you do this, for your second annual Ag Fest, can you move it to a different weekend, please? But the Ag Fest is local, so I'm really excited about that. It's April 12th, which, by the way, overlaps the Dogwood Fiber Festival. But whatever, we're good. So, March's project that we're going to work on, since we still have a new cast on the needles, which is my next Musselburgh hat, we are going to go with another whip. And my concentration is going to be on the 4 granny shawl, which I'm trying to figure out. Like, I've never made a shawl project or my needles, like, didn't lay straight. So, I don't know. I'm really curious what the shape of this is going to be when I'm all finished, because I've never had anything do that before, I don't think. So, anyways, it's interesting knitting. But I'm working on the striped section. I think I just counted and there's like 14 stripes. You can probably count really fast, but something like 14 stripes I've already done. I need to do 23 in this color according to my schematic, but that's all the contrast color I have left. So I'm going to grab the next contrast color and pop it in my bag. And I think I'm going to have a problem to work out in a few rows, but I'll tell you about that when we get there. So I think this is going to be March's project to concentrate on, and hopefully we can blast through this as well while also market prepping. But I'll check in with you on that on a different video. So thanks for coming along. See you guys next time.